evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the Armoury. Welcome to Full Time Sports Network. And welcome, Canners. Gumsa will be joining us very soon, but Canners is here right now. How are you doing, Canners?
I'm very well, sir. Good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Loving the weather. It's not too bad right now.
Yeah, it's starting to warm up now, isn't it? I think coming weekend we're going to hit 30 here in London.
Look, I'm a redhead. No, just no. Redheads just don't do.
It's all right. A factor 50 is good.
Yeah, we've got plenty of that in the house. Big up to Colm. He's already here to try and wind me up at some point, I'm sure. Big up to Colm, though. But right, so what we're doing, this is part 3. We did part 2 this morning with Luke. We did part 1 on Sunday with Satvik and Moss. So we go through the players. You give a very simple number, 6, 7, no 0.5s, no 0.33s, none of that, because I will round it down.
0.75?
I will round it down. Simple. You give me a 7.5, I'm rounding it down. So you punish yourself. But we'll go through the players, and then there's 8 awards at the end, like game of the season and player of the season, down to you. There's no right, wrong answer whatsoever. People in the comments, you're more than welcome to put your things in down. I will go through the chat after, and I will write them down. They're at the end. Part 4 is on Monday with Tony. Big up to Tony as well. Happy anniversary for today, mate.
Yes.
I did say it this morning as well, but I just want to keep making sure he does eventually hear us, because he is an important part of the Armoury. Just don't get to see him so much, but he is very important to us. So yeah, after Tuesday, I'll have about 50 people. I will then do the average, and I will do a very quick show reporting the actual answers. So what was the game of the season out of the whole of the Armoury lot? Everyone that does my preview lineups will be involved. So there will be about 50 people. So it's quite good, to be honest. Canners do points.
Just to wind you up.
Yeah, he does. He does. I love him to bits, but he does like to wind me up. Look, this is what happens when it's a Man United fan and an Arsenal fan. But look, on a full-time sports network, we just have fun and we just get on really well. And that's how it should be. Right. I am trying and wait as much time for Gumsa to join, because once I want to get into the players, I want to get into the players. But obviously, Reece Nelson will be announced soon, new contract. So I'm going to ask Canners, how happy are you about that?
Depth. I think I'm happy. I was kind of scared that he was going to leave, because I could see him being the type of player that will go somewhere and absolutely smash it, and for some reason he won't have any more injuries again. And I think that's the only thing that's really killed him. He hasn't managed to kind of have a proper spell where he's been injury free to give him that kind of rhythm. And I think that's all he needs. I think definitely next season, we're going to need as many able bodies and good players as possible, because I feel something's brewing with this squad.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm not too worried about it, because if you've got 2 people on the left, 2 people on the right, and then Nelson is like a third option for both sides, I'm absolutely fine with it. Cole, I see what you're trying to do here.
Round that one up. Actually, it's the 9, isn't it? Really, to be fair.
No, it's still getting round down, because any points tonight, and they're all getting rounded down. I'm warning you now. That's how it's working. But yeah, I think personally, like 4-year deal with an option for a year is perfect. And if God forbid it doesn't work out, we can then sell him for a good value.
Absolutely. I think that was the biggest. Also, as well, for him to be going on a free would have been after putting. I actually think he owes us to some degree as well.
Yeah.
I know that. I know in this day and age, people say, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Blah, blah, blah. But I think we've stuck by him for a majority of his last couple of years of his contract. He's been on the sidelines, and we stuck by him. Fair enough. Yes, it's a contract. However, for him to go on a free, and with the ceiling that he has, and the talent that he has, I think would be a bit of a. It would leave a bad taste in our mouths, I think.
Yeah, when he was at Hale End, he was the one that everyone was talking about.
Mm.
He's not really lived. Still hasn't impressed me that much. Yes, he's had good
He's
parts.
flitted, isn't it? He's had moments.
Yeah.
And I think what you want to see is you want to see him start a game and really, really, really impress and going from there. At the moment, he's more of your impact kind of sub player.
Yeah.
I think with his age now, he should really start to look to change that in terms of maybe starting a few games and make a telling contribution from the start.
Yeah, and I'll say this before Gumsa joins because I know he won't be happy with this, but Nelson's had a better season than Eddie for me this season. So,
ooh, that's a good talking point because I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby, you just you got me thinking there. Actually,
He has for me. He's had a better season. He's actually had something that we can all remember. Can you remember a Eddie game this season? I can't.
I can remember Eddie moment, and an Eddie moment really, I guess, was the Man United game. The winner. I think he got 2 in that game, didn't he?
Yes.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but how many games has Nelson had? He's had more than one game that's been impressive for me. He's definitely he's not a starter. He's never a starter for me, Nelson, but he's definitely someone that comes off the bench. But Eddie can't do that. Eddie can't come off the bench and game change.
No, yeah. Every time you're looking for him for something, yeah, he's someone who has to start, and that's a bit of a worry for me. He's like, because he's not going to be our starter. You kind of think to yourself, well, he doesn't do anything when he comes on.
Yeah.
So he's the kind of player that has to start and work his way into the game, and then. Yeah, that's a tough one. There have been some moments when because he did chip in with some goals.
Has he done enough for you? Right. Okay. Bearing in mind how much he earns, right, and how hard people are on Fabio Vieira, right? Fabio Vieira earns half what Eddie does. Do you think he's done enough for what he earns?
Oh, that's a difficult question because you look at it, he's got a good agent. That's what you can say.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what you can say for that. He's got a good agent, and the agent's job is to get the best for his client. Has he? I mean, that's a difficult question. Oh dear. Combs at it today, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up this bigger one now. I know it's an Arsenal channel, but can we all take a second to laugh at Spurs? They were hyped about their new manager and now are crying because of Kane. Now, I will say that I think that's a good appointment. I watch a lot of Scottish football. I do a lot of watch-alongs for Scottish football. I think that's a very good appointment. The way that he sets up his team, it's going to be a very attractive football at Tottenham next season.
Yes, but so was Ozzy Ardiles.
Yes. Very true.
And we know what happened there.
Yeah, very true. I honestly, I feel that the Big Six needs to kind of stop being the Big Six because they're not anymore. They're not part of it.
No. It's totally been jigged and rejigged now.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, money is a big and huge part of the game. My thing is that Newcastle, I believe, are going to become a force. The backing what they have is ridiculous. You got Man City. As long as Pep stays there, then it's going to be something crazy. There, us Man U always again. I mean, especially if this takeover happens with the Saudi takeover again.
Yeah.
Money plays a huge part of it, and the Big Six ain't what it used to be.
Yeah,
I remember the days when it was the Big Five.
Yeah. Big up to Nippon. Hope you're doing well, mate. Right, and Gumsa is now in the
He's
house.
in
Big
the
up to
building.
Gumsa.
What's
How
going
you
on,
doing,
boys?
Gumsa?
What's going on?
We're
I'm all
good.
right. How you lot keeping?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good, good, good. I'm all right. Just busy with work, and I'm apologising in advance about internet because it's probably gonna always does when I'm upstairs. So
It's a
apologies in
Brenny
advance,
internet. It's
people.
all good. It's a Brenny internet. It's all good. We're used to it.
Yeah.
Right, Nippon wants. Before we get into the ratings, Nippon's asked a very good question here. What are your thoughts on the Jude Bellingham impending transfer to Real Madrid? We'll start with you, Gumsa. What do you think of it?
For me, he's an absolute bargain. He's top quality, and he's gonna be Ballon d'Or nominated, and whether he wins or not, but he's that level of player, isn't he?
Yeah.
So to get him for what they've got him for, I think 86 million. They've
Yeah.
done very well to get him for that price. So, and I'm watching what Madrid are building. And in terms, not trying to compare Arsenal with Madrid, but it's similar, isn't it? Of young players coming in, they've revamped that whole team now. You're letting some of the old guard go, bringing in younger players. So the midfield looks quite vibrant with Tuchemeni, Camavinga, Bellingham, Valverde. You've got Vinicius. If rumours are true, they want Reece James and Alphonso Davies. Militao's not old, so yeah, they're really revamping the squad. And I like the look of it, what they're building.
Yeah. What about you, Canners?
It's just wow, really. I mean, you got to think on the part of I don't know whether there's contractual reasons or whatever, but Dortmund have got to be one of the worst selling teams ever. I mean, they've just sold Haaland for peanuts, and they've sold. I reckon they could have got a lot more for Bellingham, right? For those two players, you should be looking at least 200 mil for those two players. I think they've got way short of what they should have got. But yeah, listen, it's a great signing for Madrid. Their midfield is going to be for years to come. Is going to be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Do you think with Dortmund though, it's a tactic they deploy because they're able to get the best young talents as such because they allow to move on. So obviously with Haaland, it was a release clause after he hit. I think it was 2 or 3 years there. Then the release clause came into effect because if they sold him the year before, teams were talking 100 and something million for Haaland or wait a year and get him for 65. So I think I understand it because you're thinking for them two players, you should be making 200, 250 mil. However, what it allows is the next batch of players probably will go Dortmund because they know you're not held to ransom. You can move on after 2 or 3 years. You can play first team football at 18, 19, and then they will let you go to the bigger clubs. So I feel it's a smart tactic because they're always going to be able to get the next best player. And I think we're linked with Fresneda again, and so at Dortmund. And if he's got a choice, he probably will pick Dortmund because it's, again, guaranteed first team football and we'll let you go for a reasonable price. Do you know what I mean? In a couple of years. And I think that's quite telling for some young players.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
Right, guys, let's get ready to do this. We're going to start with Ramsdale. We're going to start with you, Canners. Rating out of 10, please, for Ramsdale.
8.
8. Okay. Gumsa.
Yeah, I echo that 8 as well.
Cool. We're going to move on to Mr. Turner. We'll start with you, Gumsa.
I'll give him a 7. To be fair, I'll give him a 7.
Okay. Canners?
I was going to say 7.5, but we're banned from 0.5.
Yes, you are.
Hey, that's not bad stats. There 7 played 4 clean sheets. You can't grumble with that, can you? Because considering that's not bad at all. But yeah, I mean, he's only played 7 in it really, so it has to be a 7.
Okay. We'll move on to Tomiyasu. We'll start with you, Canners.
6.
Okay. Gumsa.
5.
Okay.
I like Tomiyasu, but I feel he has not lived up to what we was expecting of him this year. Yeah, I was quite disappointed with his season, in all honesty.
No, that's fine.
Just never got going, did he? I just don't think. Yeah.
We'll do Benjamin White. We'll start with you, Gumsa.
Injuries killed him. He'll get 8 from me this year. He's had a very solid season. Yeah, playing out, or we say out of position, but now he's made that position his own, hasn't he? So, do you know what? He is at 8.5, isn't he, Canners? He's one of those. Like, he's 8.5, actually. Thinking about it, I'm trying to think of what he's done wrong in that. Do you know what I mean? There's no glaring moments where you're thinking he needs to be dropped, or do you know what I mean? Or he's had a run of bad games. I think he's been Mr. Consistent. Actually, I'm going to bring him up to a 9. I think he's been one of our most consistent performers. He didn't play below a 7, I don't reckon, all season. And I've done most of the reviews. So for me, he'll get a solid 9.
Okay, Canners.
I'm going to go 8. I echo what Gums is saying. The only thing I'd say about it is that I know at the for 3/4 of the season, I don't know why, but he's got to be the most subbed right back ever. But that must be something to do. I don't know if it's to do with fatigue or whatever. So that's the only reason why I'll give him an 8. I would give him, as I said, an 8.5, but that would be rounded up to a 9. I don't think he quite deserves a 9, so I'm going to say an 8.
Fair enough. We'll move on to Tierney. Canners. Did
he play for 21 a sub? Yeah, that's a killer, isn't it? Wow. Yeah. He can't get more than a 7 for me, really. I think, he hasn't put a foot wrong, but the fact that I think this is probably the first year in his life that he's had a proper challenge for a left back berth. And not to say that he gave up or whatever, but I just don't think he kind of rose to the heights of maybe the way we play or whatever. But his importance wasn't as much as it was in the previous seasons. Yeah. I'm not sure what that's down to, whatever, but I just think that he kind of lost the battle. And I think it should have been a bit more of a battle between him and Zinchenko for that left back berth. So I'm going to say 7 this year.
Fair enough. Gumsa?
I'll give him a 6. Same thing, really. As I said, I understand we played a different style, but even when he then did play, he didn't really do enough. And yeah, it's kind of telling he couldn't get in front of Kyrgios at left back. And there's a few things where when he did come on in some games, he did shore things up for us. But it's sad times, isn't it? Because Tierney is one of the favourites and he's had a good career at Arsenal.
My attitude gives him a 7.
Yeah, I think, that's one thing you can't question is when he come on, he does give us all still. But I think you can see the drop off now when he's playing, which is mad to say.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Colm, I will say that I am writing your numbers down as well, and if there are any that I miss, I will let you. I'll message you.
That's harsh, Colm. Can't remember him.
No one's right or wrong here. No one's right or wrong.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. But to be fair, Colm is a United fan, so obviously he's got his United hat on as well. So we'll move on to Zinchenko. So Gumsa,
he gets a 9 from me.
Ooh.
And I know it's going to be controversial because people are going to look at the Liverpool game. He got nutmegged, or kind of a player beat him to score the equaliser. There was moments of, do you know what I mean? You saw his frailties defensively, let's say. Not as much as people make out, I don't feel. But for me, he elevated our level. He's a game raiser. And again, the biggest compliment you can give to people like Zinchenko is you don't realize how good he is until he's missing. And again, he was a big part of why our drop-off happened. Him not playing in some of them games, we struggled to control the game until we put Partey right back. And then we started to gain a bit more control again. So he's got the way he plays, he's going to make mistakes, and you have to allow him to make some mistakes because he plays risky. He doesn't do the safe stuff, which means he's going to make a mistake here and there. It's going to be costly, but 9 times out of 10, what he's bringing is, something which... I don't think as an Arsenal fan we've seen. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, he gets a 9.
Okay, Canners.
You're gonna have to be. I want to give him a 9, but there's no point, or 8.5. But there's no
you and them points. You and them 0.5s.
I know. I'm itching to come out with a 0.5.
It will get rounded down if you do it. So it's up to you.
Okay.
8.6 then.
No, it will still get rounded down. No matter what, it will get rounded down.
Oh, this is a toughie. I really do want to give him a high mark because he's been one of our better players this season. But I'm going to go with an 8. I'm going to be pretty kind of stern, actually. Yeah, really have to work harder, actually, for me to get a 9 or a 10. But yeah, as Gumsa said, he's elevated and changed the way we play so much so that Tierney, who was probably our, one of the top 3 performers last season, could not get in the team, couldn't see it. And as Gumsa said, the greatest compliment you can pay to a player is that if they're not there, when they're not there, how much the team misses them. And that can be said for Zinchenko. So yeah, listen, he had these moments, the nuts against Liverpool, but also he started to fight back to that great game against Villa as well. So, by scoring the goal. I love his enthusiasm. He's brought something to this team. Love his little team talks, his huddles, etc. He's been great this season. An 8, solid 8, not a flimsy one.
Fine.
Solid 8.
That's absolutely fine. We'll move on to Saliba, so Canners.
That one, he gets a 9.
Okay.
For me, what he's done from his season at Marseille, all the hype he was getting, being Ligue 1 young player this season, he's just come back, start the season full of confidence. And the greatest thing you can say to him, and in terms of confidence that the manager has in him, is the fact that everyone was questioning, okay, so who's going to play, Ben White or Saliba? Saliba's starting. I will move my best centre back, or probably one of my best centre backs, out to a right, as a right back. For me, that is testament really to what Saliba's done and kept it going. And again, another respect is the fact that once he was out of the team, you really, really saw the drop off on goals conceded, and it's just a different player. I would have loved to seen him play against Haaland. I would have loved it.
Yeah, 100%. Gumsa, what about you for Saliba?
I'm borderline. Do you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give him a 10.
Woo! Is that the golden buzzer?
Yeah, let me hit it. It comes down. I'm gonna give him a 10. Is he my player of the season? Maybe not, but I don't think you can ask much more from a centre back than what he gave. Yes, he made a couple, and again, it weren't mistakes. I think sometimes you could call a mistake. For me, a mistake is if I misplace a pass or I lose concentration, the ball goes under my foot. Obviously, he scored an own goal, which can't really blame him for. Tried to intercept things. He's made a couple of little mistakes after that, but for me, what he's done this year is unbelievable. Coming into the Premier League for his first time, young centre back, playing with a young team around him. He's not stepping in with, just say you come in and you got Rio Ferdinand one side and Gary Neville the other side. Do you know what I mean? Where you got that big security around you and you're just slipping in. Like, he's coming into a relatively unknown back four. Ben White hasn't played right back for us. Gabriel, it's kind of his first year being the leader of the back line. Zinchenko's first season at Arsenal. So he's coming in to a relatively new back four, and he really was something special. So yeah, for me, I think he does deserve a 10. Personally, I think he's been unreal. Yeah, I've got to give him a 10. Actually, I really do.
That's fine. We'll move on to Gabriel. So Gumsa,
9 for me. I was one calling him out at the start of the season. He had a couple of mad moments, but since the World Cup, he's been unbelievable, and I think he's been our best player since the World Cup. He's taken on responsibility and he's never shied away. I think even when Saliba got injured, he's the one for me who's still maintained a high standard when others. Isn't it? Yeah, like a few others, we could start to question Zinchenko, Partey a little bit. In the defensive side of things, like a few things will go wrong, and he stayed consistent. And also, I've got to give him a big shout out because out of everyone, the system he play, it probably affects him more than anybody else. Because he's a centre back who gets dragged out to left back a lot, and it's not the easiest thing to do as a natural centre back is to go out and play in them areas. You're left vulnerable. and he's done it all season and done it to a level where it allows us to be attacking, it allows Zinchenko to go where it allows Xhaka to push higher up and improve his game. And it kind of stems from him and Saliba being able to take the responsibility, and especially him because he has to go out into that left channel where Saliba stays central because Ben White doesn't go as marauding as Zinchenko. So for that, yeah, he deserves a 9, and he's going to get caught out sometimes out there, and you have to allow him because he's not a left back. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, 9 from me. I think he's been absolutely brilliant, especially second half of the season.
Yeah, Canners
9. Solid 9, very solid 9. I would say our most consistent player this season. I think he's been brilliant this season. He's gone up another level. International honours should soon be a regular thing for him. I just think he's been superb this season. I can't speak any more highly. You know, as Gumsa said, going into it's a brand new back four. Literally a brand new back four, and what he's done, he's been the one consistent performer the whole season, playing in every competition. I'm just happy for him, and I think, you know, he's the next one. I'm pretty sure soon enough we'll be looking to tie down for into a new contract. I think, but at the end of this year, is it next year? Sorry,
didn't he sign one last year?
Yeah, I think he did. You did sign one not so long ago, but
okay,
I'm sure he'd be in line for another one.
Okay. But listen,
I wouldn't be against giving him another one if it's another 5 years. You know what I mean?
Such as, you know, his seniority now, he's well accustomed to to the Premiership, the way we play. I love him. I know that we're going to get a 7 base foundation from him. And as Gumsa rightly said, you know, with him coming, having to be playing left back as well at some points, I think he's taken on the new challenge, basically, like Dr. Water. I think he's been brilliant this season. So yeah, solid 9 for me.
Absolutely fine, mate. We'll move on to Kivior Canners.
Yeah, listen, when you come to a new country and mid-season, it's a hard thing. So I can't really give him more than a 6. Looks decent enough. Question marks about the goal against Brighton. I'm pretty sure that that's not going to happen again. But you know, he's done more right than wrong, and I think, you know, hopefully he'll be a solid addition for past his new next year. So yeah, a 6.
Okay, Gumsa.
Yeah, I'll give a 6 as well. Started off first couple of sub appearances, looked a bit shaky, didn't he? But I think once he started the game at right centre back, I think he played 2 games there and he did look a lot more comfortable. Then obviously we shipped him out to left back. One game we didn't really see much of him. The second game he looked a bit better. But yeah, I'm not going to judge him on them performances either. So yeah, I'll give him a 6. I feel there's a player in there, and it's just now just going to see more of him next year, and hopefully he kicks on.
Okay, Gumsa, you've got Holding. No one's right or wrong here, so go with whatever you want to say.
Is it me first?
Yeah, it's you, Gumsa, first.
Do you know what? People are gonna get on to me, but I'll give him a 7.
Oh,
and the reason why, he didn't do anything wrong. So people are gonna noticeably see when Saliba went injured, we fell off, and the rest of it, and everyone's gonna put it down to Holding. It's a collective game. We have to learn to adapt. Not everyone can play at the same standard as everybody else. Yes, there's a drop off between Holding and Saliba, but I can't blame him for our drop of form as a whole. I can't put it on him. I think in the games he played, he wasn't bad. So I'm not gonna single him out like a lot of fans will. It's easy and it's safe just to blame Holding, not looking at the collective issues. Do you know what I mean? As an attacking force, we didn't do enough in some of the games. As a unit, we didn't defend well enough. Not every goal was Holding's fault. Do you know what I mean? It was as a collective, we didn't do enough in some of them games. Regardless who we're playing, we should be playing me. We shouldn't be conceding 3 against Southampton. Like, even with me playing next to Gabriel, we shouldn't concede 3 against that team. So yeah, I can't blame Holding for that at all. So yeah, it gets a 7 from me.
I'm going to leave that up there for a bit. Canners.
I agree with Colm here with a 6. I think he didn't make any mistakes. You know, absolutely correct in that. There was no glaring mistakes. There's no kind of issues. The one thing though, there was a drop off, and yes, listen, you're going to get a drop off when you've got the likes of Saliba and Gabriel playing to the high standard that they were playing. However, there were certain things that with Holding is that the problem is that there's limitations, and the limitation is like I remember distinctly the game against West Ham was the one for me. They kept pumping balls forward, and whereas games before you'd see like Gabriel or Saliba, when they were making their clearances, they were measured clearances. Holding was just getting the ball away, and it was then kept coming back, and you know, you just kick the ball away. There was, I just felt there was a kind of a limitation in his skill set, and that was quite telling. And with the way that we want to play, or we should be playing, it was quite telling. But yeah, listen, as a fourth choice centre back, yeah, decent enough, I guess. Going into next season, will he be here? I guess he will, because I think he's quite. No, you don't think? You think he's gone?
I think he might be going. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he might be a bit like an El Neni kind of thing. I didn't think we was actually going to be looking to buy a centre back this year, but I guess if he does go, then we're going to have to. Be interesting actually. There's a couple of players I do like, but yeah, 6 for Holden for me.
We'll talk about the centre backs on Friday. It's not a backup centre back we're looking at. We're looking at someone that can actually compete,
challenge.
Yeah. And obviously Ben White is another option as well. So that's why Holding probably will go, because Ben White can obviously fit in there as well. So there's our 5 centre backs. If we buy one, we've got Kivior, we've got Gabriel Saliba, Ben White, and a new one. So then we've got the 5 centre backs that we need. So that's probably why Holding. And to be fair, he's the perfect age now to sell on as well.
He needs to play, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, and look, we've discussed this before. If Rob wants this, then we're all happy for him to go, and I'm sure he'll do very well at another club, because other clubs do play the way that he would suit. So
yeah, absolutely.
I love the guy, but he's just not for our system, and that's how I look at it. Right, let's move on to Thomas Partey. We're going to start with you, Canners.
This is had this show been in March, he would have got a 9.
Yeah.
Just the things that he was doing in midfield, he would have got a 9 for me. I'm gonna have to. He's fallen off a cliff, hasn't he? I do think there's reasons for that. So I want to give him a 7.5, but you're not going to allow that.
No, I'm not.
7.5.
I gave him a 6, so
yeah, no, he's getting a 7. He's getting a 7 for the first part up until March. For me, he was. Yeah. He would have been up there as kind of, you know, one of the most consistent performers, player of the year kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Not saying that he would have been, but he would have been in the conversation. So I'm going to give him a 7. A 7.
No,
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Look, no one's right, no one's wrong.
6 and 7. Jesus, it's the recency bias. I understand it.
But you know what?
The whole season.
Yeah, I as I say, I guess from August to March, that is pretty much 3/4 of the season, and you know, those months he was absolutely. Do you know what, Gumsy, you done it? 8.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to bring that back up.
I mean, yeah, because I understand
the drop off was. The drop off monumental. It feels like a big drop off. And again, when you actually look back at it, there was games where he might not be at top, but it was only it's the mistake against West Ham which stands out in your brain. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying he played well in some of the other games, but you know, the mistake against West Ham was a big mistake. But I think if I'm correct, and Bobby, you're the man for this, we only lost one game when Partey played. Like a 90. There was games where we were drawing, he came off and then we lost. But I'm pretty sure there's only one game where Partey played and we got beaten, which was City. I think even if you look at the draws, West Ham was a draw when he was playing. He made the mistake. Liverpool we drew in. Southampton we drew in, and then I think he got dropped after that. I don't think he started the Brighton game, if I'm correct.
No,
Because then after that he then went to right back. I don't think he started Brighton.
Jorginho played Brighton.
Yeah. So when you in terms of our season, again the games we lost was when we was drawing 0-0. He got injured and then we conceded. I think that happened 2 or 3 times when he came off and we conceded. Partey really lost one game this season. So for me, it's crazy when people are saying 6s and 7s because this guy is unbelievable. And when he doesn't play, Arsenal don't play. And as much as Gino stepped in and done well, for me, you see stylistically what he brings over a whole season, it'd be criminal to give him less than an 8 because he was unbelievable for, I would say, 30, 31, 32 games. But again, when people like him have a bad game, it's noticeable. And that's the problem we got with Partey. It stands out when he has a bad game. It really does because he's so influential to everything we do. So if his passing radar's off, you notice it because the attacking players aren't getting the ball or he's kicking them out of play. Do you know what I mean? He does do some madness sometimes, I'll be honest. Like some of the passes he makes, you're like, how the hell did you spoon it that wide or whatever? But taking pressure off the back line, he's got one of the hardest roles again. And someone who plays in that role, sometimes you don't want the ball under pressure and he takes it every time. And as a centre back, there's nothing better than when you got a midfielder in front of you who says, just give me the ball 100. Do you know what I mean? It's that security. So even when we're saying Holding's kicking the ball long, this is the part of the problems you have sometimes when Partey is not on game because he doesn't give you the option of just give it to me and trust me and I'll get us out. It makes a big difference to your centre backs when someone's doing that. So yeah, I'll give him an 8. It is frustrating. I think that West Ham game will just stand in everyone's memory because I think that's a game where we look at and think this is probably where we ended up losing the league because there was 2 games in a row we should have took maximum points and we only got 2 from it, and they're the 2 games that really cost us. And obviously Partey is going to be a big bit of criticism of that because at 2-0 up he makes the mistake, which then West Ham score and it starts to come back. So, but on a whole of it, so in that game, criticizing, give him a 4, give him a 0, whatever it is. But overall over the season, he's not the only one that made mistakes, and we haven't penalised many others for mistakes they've made. So I can't do that to Partey, in all honesty. So 8 from me.
Look, like I said, you're not wrong. No one else is wrong that's giving him a 6 or anything. It's just own personal opinion. It's how you look at football, and everyone 100%. Is very different. And a lot 100%. Of people can say that Partey wasn't a lot of them for the reasons for a lot of mistakes, but a lot of people could see that at the time we needed him to step up, he didn't. And that's where I think a lot of people.
I think that's why it's harsh. Because I think if he makes the mistakes in October and then does what he does at the start of the season, end of the season, we're talking 9. But it's just because it stays long in your memory what he's done at the end of the season, isn't it? I feel that's where his lowest score comes from. I think if he made the mistakes at the start and then flipped, a bit like Gabriel, we're talking Gabriel's a 9 because of what he done after Christmas. But before that, Gabriel had some very, very. I remember for 3-4 weeks straight saying Gabriel might have to get dropped soon, play Tomiyasu, and bring Ben White back in because he had, again, the Leeds game where he almost gave away the penalty. He had 4 or 5 real shaky games. But we're going to forget that now because he had such a good January to the end of the season. So I think Partey's just unfortunate his came at the end of the season and it just lives long in your memory, doesn't it? So yeah,
true.
I'm with you.
Very true. Right, we're going to move on to El Neni. Gumsa.
Can't score him more than a 5 if I'm honest. Can't even think back to some of the games he played in. Pretty sure he played the United game when we got beat. Pretty sure he was involved in that game. Yeah, can't really score him more than a 5.
No, that's absolutely fine. Canners.
Same. The only game I remember of him was the FA Cup game.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine. He just about made the criteria for actually making this list, so he was the bare minimum for this one. Jorginho, we're going to start with you, Canners.
Oh, I'm going to give him a 7. Okay. I think he's done well. When he's come to the club, it's always hard. Obviously, still in London, so that's not a big upheaval for him. So in terms of settling, he's just about acclimatizing himself to his teammates. Yeah, a solid 7 from me. I think what he's done. He's even challenged Party for that starting spot. So that means that he's settling, and he's starting to get to know the players. I love his attitude, telling players where to go, where they should be, getting them there. He's a seasoned pro in terms of an international player as well. He's won big trophies, so you got to respect that. And I think it would be very. He's had a solid start to his Arsenal career, so 7.
100%. Okay, Gumsa.
I'm gonna give him an 8. I feel he's done very well in the games he's played. Um, Expectations, I think he met and succeeded. I think remember we was having the streams and I was saying to King, but I'm not expecting him to start a game if Partey's fit. And by the end of it, he was starting ahead of Partey and Partey had to move position. So he came in and he's delivered. I can't think of the frailties we were scared of. I don't think really shown. I thought only once or twice someone really outpaced him, and I think he done one. He gave a cheeky foul away, so I think he knows his limitations. And again, the intelligence when he doesn't get caught in those situations often.
Yeah.
So I think the fears we had from him didn't really show in that half a season. But what he brings is I think he gives us quality when we're playing against low blocks. And I think what he has highlighted is there's some games where he has to start because teams that are playing a low block, he's got the quality to pick a pass. And sometimes you're going to need that from a defensive kind of position. He plays deeper, and we need that. So stand out, I think it was the Aston Villa game. He started to pull the strings. He really stepped up in that game. He showed leadership when he came on. Do you know? I think he came on in that game, didn't he? Or wherever it was, he just turned up and started orchestrating, telling people where to go.
Yeah.
I think that was the game he scored the third goal as well. But it was more than just the third goal. It was the passing from deep, just taking the game by the scruff of the neck. And I haven't really seen a midfielder do that since Guendouzi, where they almost play like a maverick. Like my role is to do this, but actually this game I'm not doing that. I'm getting the ball and driving past 5. I'm dribbling. I'm going to open. Do you know what I mean? He just started playing on a different level. And I haven't seen that from some of our players for a long time. We play to our structure a lot, and sometimes you need someone to take it by the scruff and just orchestrate. And he did that in that game, and I enjoyed that performance thoroughly. So yeah, he'd get an 8.
Absolutely fine. Right, Gumsa.
8.
Xhaka.
8 as well. Which it seems mad because he played a whole season compared to Junior's half. I just feel he doesn't do enough to get a 9. He gets the easier role, if that makes sense. Again,
you're such a hater.
No, it's not. But we don't
He
ask
gets
him.
the easier role.
No, he does. He does. If you see,
I know what you're saying.
Zinchenko, Partey have to do the risk. When Jorginho plays, he has to do the risk. What we've done well with Xhaka is we said, all right, we know that's not your game. You playing with your back to goal isn't your strong point, so you hang there, and we get you that ball. And now you're playing forward, which is his strong point. He's contributed with some good goals. He's got a lot of assists, so that side of it he's done very well. But again, it's these moments when Partey's dropped off, we need people to stand up. And did he do enough? I don't think he did. And yeah, he's had a good season, but for a 9, again, we've given like Salibas, the Gabriels. For me, they've shown why they're 9s, and for me, he doesn't get a 9 this season. He's not going to be the only one who I don't give a 9 to. People might think get a 9, but yeah, for me, he doesn't get a 9. He's done his job really well, but again, like I say, in them games where Jorginho just pulls it by the scruff of the neck, I just don't get that from him, which isn't an indictment on him, but I think 8's a very good score for this man.
Canners.
I would love to give him a 9, but just with me and other players that are given a 9, I just don't think he's going to get such a solid 8. This is why we need the 0.5s or the 0.75s, Bobby. For me, obviously, this is his best season ever for us. Probably actually his best season ever, full stop. 16 goal contributions. You can't grumble with that. I mean, from a player that was playing the DM for us, whatever, obviously, Switzerland never play him as that. I'm not sure why Wenger tried to make him that, but hey, Arteta has realised exactly what he is. I think, he's important to us, not just on the pitch, but also off the pitch as well. You can just see sometimes some of the things behind the scenes, the little interactions and stuff, and the respect he has from other players, the other pros there. I just think there's been games where I think he didn't start when they started playing Vieira. If that's the easier position of midfield, then Vieira's flopping bad because the drop off. Look, the game against Bournemouth was a case in point, where he mixed it up and didn't play Xhaka and everything, and I was just absolutely fuming, because I see when he Xhaka was pretty much first name on his team sheet, and for him not to play Xhaka in that game, just I think was a bit of a disrespect to Bournemouth. And to be honest, they nearly made us pay for that. But listen, I think he learned from that because he didn't really drop him after that. He's an important player. He's had a great season. It's a shame if this is farewell. I think it would be sad. It would be nice for us and for him to have a season playing in the Champions League for us. But yeah, a very, very, very solid with multiple foundations, 8.
Moss, I know what you're saying here, but the reason I do it is to make sure you're forced into a number. For me, now this is because I was a captain in the army. We have 1 to 10, and it's simple. It's no 0.5s, so it forces you to either do a 7 or an 8. It makes you think harder. So there's a reason why I do it.
It's a killer.
Exactly, and it's not meant to be easy. This makes you think about it. Doing 7.5s and 6.5s is a bit of a cop out for me. So it makes you think either a 7 or an 8. Simple as that.
Oh, but there are some that are they're better than a 7, but they're not just quite an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're a 7.
With you on that.
Then they're a 7. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. You don't have GCSEs. You don't have 8.5 stars, do you? You have an A star or an A or a B. You don't have in betweens. So that's how I do it. So look,
that one's a bit of a flawed one there, Bobby, because yes, you said because the A and the A star. So you have an A, but you've done a bit better than an A. So we give you an A star.
And there's even an A star, which is a 9. So
is there a new one, an A star?
Yeah, an A star.
So even though you're an A, you've got an A, brilliant. But you know what? You just done a bit better than that. So we're going to give you a star with that.
Luke's saying it, don't mess with general. I never got to the rank of general. I got to the rank of captain. I got to the rank of captain, not the general. I didn't get that high. Just so knowing Bobby's system, I started rounding up. Look, if that's how you want to do it, that's absolutely fine. But it's forcing you to do one or the other.
No, I totally get it, and it does make you think because to me, to get a 9, you have to be bloody good.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody good.
So it makes people false. That's all. Right, let's move into Fabio Vieira Canners.
Oh, I know it's not his fault, the fee, but for that kind of money, I was expecting a lot more. I'm giving him a 6. He's lucky he didn't get a 5. Really, I would have given him a 5.5 to be fair, but a 6. He needs a whole summer of gym work.
Yeah, absolutely fine.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm a big fan of him, and I always big him up. But I've given him a 6 as well because I have to be honest with myself. He needs to do better for next season. Gumsa.
He's going to get a 5 from me, and I think he's a good player. I do think there's a player in there. I will happily be patient with him. However, he just didn't do enough when we needed him to. When he was given opportunities, he just didn't do enough. And yeah, you did see the drop off when Xhaka didn't play. When he played, you saw it was a massive drop off. So yeah, for me, yeah, he gets a 5. Now I do believe there's a player in there, but like kind of said, the price tag that he came in with, he just didn't deliver anything really. And honestly, I think one game was at Wolves where he came and done a little bit, and I was like, okay, you can see a bit of quality in there. And if others are playing where they got in that position where they had the quality to the pass he done for the assist was a quality pass. Do you know what I mean? everyone will normally go low, and he kind of just dinked it, and that kind of shows the creative brain, but
Yeah.
nowhere near enough. And Arteta was giving him good opportunities to play, and just didn't do enough. So 5 from me.
I think you hit the nail there, Gumsa. I think also it kind of feels like that Arteta's trying to shoehorn him into the team somewhere, because it started off really, being, taking Odegaard's kind of position, putting him there. Then, oh, wait a minute, that's not really working out. Okay, because he's not really getting on the ball as much as he should be. Okay, now let's try him in Xhaka's position. But again, I just don't think it's really clicked for him. So
No.
I hope he finds his niche. I hope he finds his calling somewhere in our team or in our system, because around the crowd, in the stadium, there's starting to be murmurings of discontent with him, with how weak he is on the ball. So yeah,
absolutely fine. We'll move on to Smith Rowe, Canners. Oh no, it's Gumsa. Sorry, mate.
This is gonna hurt me, because everyone knows I love Smith Rowe. He's my birthday twin. However, I can't score him more than a 5. I was so happy to see him back, but in them games he did play, he didn't do too much. Again, patience with him, because we saw something similar with Martinelli last year when he came back from his long injury. Arteta just didn't really use him, and we all thought Arteta doesn't like him. All the speculation started. However, I think it was just a way of actually there's no point rushing him this year. Let him recover properly, get him a proper pre-season under his belt. He looks like he's changing position. He's playing more centrally. So again, let him get used to that position in pre-season, and I expect him to kick on massively next year. I'm hoping he does, because there is one hell of a player in there, and he has something which we think we missed. He's a dribbler. He's someone who could pick at the ball and drive. He's like a Fabregas, where they're not fast, but they can move with the ball at the same speed when they move without the ball. And I think sometimes we lack that this season. So I'm expecting big things from him next year. I think him driving at players, he could commit 1 or 2, which creates space for other people. That's going to be important in unlocking defenses when people are sitting in against us. And we saw from the year before, he does score goals as well. So yeah, I'm expecting big things. But this year, sorry, Smith Rowe, you get a 5 from me.
That's absolutely fine. Before we go into Canners, yes, we have got an Arsenal coach out with him on the under-21s, the Arsenal specific coach that is training him to, because under 21s he does actually play centre midfield. He's actually very good under the 21s, but we've actually sent out a coach to be specifically with him whilst he's out there to continue his training into this new position that Arteta wants. So I guarantee he's staying next season, which is what I said in our WhatsApp group, that watch out for someone that will.
You can't sell him, and he's homegrown as well. Do you know what I mean? So when you go into Europe, you've got to have a certain amount of players who come through the academy playing. So it doesn't make sense to sell someone like him.
Right, sorry, Canners, your turn, mate.
No. This is going to hurt me as well, because I love the guy, but I just think for what you would expect from him, I don't know what's happened. It could be, as Gumsa said, he's dealing with it in the same way as he did with Martinelli, but I'm going to give him a 4.
That's fine.
I actually, though, am a little bit worried for him, because really and truly, the way we play, where does he play? Where does he fit in? I really don't know. He doesn't take Martinelli's position. Maybe question marks about where where Odegaard plays or whatever. But I just don't think, from the way that we was playing this season, that he's fit and he scored all them goals. We don't play like that anymore, and it might have the kind of Tierney syndrome where the team has evolved on from him. So I'm a little bit worried for him, to be honest. There's no doubt in his ability, but I'm just a bit worried about with the way that we play. There isn't a place for him. That's just I just don't. I'm wondering where he would fit in the team.
I think you'll be surprised. You might see him in pre-season, but I think be surprised by him next season. I think he might be a surprise for everyone.
I hope so, because I love the guy. There's no doubt in the guy.
Because they are working on specific stuff with him for a specific reason. So obviously he's got the capabilities of playing midfield anyway.
Yeah.
But he's actually training in a different area in midfield to suit this new role. So yeah, I definitely would watch out for him next season. I'm excited to see him next season.
Good. I'm glad I'm hearing that from you, Bobby.
Yeah, I love Smith Rowe. I absolutely adore him.
Too. However, there's one thing though. I think the two guys, him and Saka, they need their own song now.
Yeah.
Right, Canners, it's Odegaard.
9.
Okay.
This I did have question marks about him when he was on loan. I have to say, I probably was in the Madison camp when it came to, who do we get? But really, truly, I think Arteta's pulled a masterstroke here, getting him for pretty much, you probably would say at the time, half the fee, and getting someone actually, though, who is now our club captain. So not only is he, someone who's influential on the field, off it as well. He is, he's club captain for club and country, and at his age, that's ridiculous. It's kind of someone that that is influential for the team and the squad, and he's pulled out some serious numbers this year. Sometimes, he did kind of go missing, but for the majority of the season, he's pulled out some serious moves in this year. He's been brilliant, and now he's a marked man, and that's only testament to how good a season he's had. So, solid 9 from me.
Fair enough. Gumsa?
Yeah, solid 9. Actually, no, I'm going to bring him down. I'm going to bring him to an 8. And this is just in protest to some of you other fans. He's had definitely a lot more worse games than Partey has. And this is the kind of recency bias we speak of. There's been games, don't get me wrong, there's been games where he's pulled out some 9s and 10s, and there's been games where he's pulled out 5s and 6s, and we haven't seen him at all. Whereas I think your Partey's, your Gabriel's, they've been solid 7s every game. So I think Odegaard's high is unbelievable. He's had some games where he's just been unplayable, but there's been a lot of games where it just passed him by. Equally, it might not be his fault. It could be generally we just can't seem to get him the ball in certain areas in some games. Teams will make a plan for Odegaard. But again, I think when we have these games where we're not firing and we might sneak a 1-0 or we just get through with a set piece or something, you look at Odegaard, he's your main attacking player, one of them anyway. And if he's not, then we all would look to him to say he didn't play today. Could be a bigger problem. It could just be we can't get him the ball, which there might be actually defense and the deeper midfielder's fault. But I just think there's been a lot of games where he was playing a 5 or 6, and I think if we had another option in midfield, so say a Maddison or someone of that level, there'd have been a lot more games where you didn't see Odegaard starting or coming off earlier. But I think you look at the bench and there was nothing really to bring on. Sometimes was there, so he then ends up staying on longer or whatever. But yeah, I give him an 8. Again, this is one of the 8.8s. He could have easily been in that market. But yeah, I'll give him an 8.
No, that's fine, mate. Right, we're going to move on to Saka. Gumsa.
See, he's another one. I'm going to go 9, though. I'm going to go 9. I feel... he had a 2-3 weeks where he looked like he just maybe had just burnt out a little. And then he came back in the last couple of games and stepped back up again. But this boy's unbelievable, man. Like, he's brilliant. He has to get a 9. I'll be honest. Because again, he's probably the one who's had less support from the bench, isn't it? He's played a lot more minutes. The way other teams treat him as well, the way he gets kicked up, like this boy, he could do it all. I think the one thing with Saka, which I think goes against him, is he doesn't have that wow factor in a weird way. So you look at someone like a Mudryk, you see that pace, you're like blown away by it. Do you know what I mean? There's so many players who have one ability where it kind of makes them shine. It's like, oh my God, have you seen his strike or whatever it is? Saka doesn't have that. He's just an all-round great footballer. And this is what's going to bode well for him, is because he shouldn't be doing what he's doing with the attributes he's got, if that makes sense. and you just can't stop him. Like, I don't know what it is about this kid. You can't stop him, and he's had another season. I think for 3 years in a row, he's absolutely. I wouldn't say he carried us this year. Yeah, and I wouldn't say he carried us this year because I think a lot of other players have stepped up. But what he's achieved at this young age is remarkable. Like, for a year and a half, he carried us. He bailed us out when we're looking for someone to step up. He's the one that steps up. And I think the nice thing is, yes, there was a few things you heard after the West Ham game, but I'm glad that actually Partey's getting more of the blame for that rather than Saka's missed penalty, and I can live with that all day. So Saka's got broader shoulders, let him deal with it. But to be fair, this guy's faced adversity and he comes back and he doesn't. Do you know what I mean? He's just a. I'm just so proud that he's our player. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them players that every fan I talk to, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, United, everyone likes Saka. Do you know what I mean? Even if they hate when he's wearing the Arsenal shirt, it's hate from respect. And then when he puts the English shirt on, they will love him. Do you know what I mean? It's just different people. Yeah, he's a pleasure to have at the club. Honestly, he really is. So yeah, he gets a 9 from me.
Okay, Canners.
Big smile says it all. This is our jewel in the crown. He gets a 10 from me.
Ooh, I like it.
Not only that, he his family lived down the road from me as well, so that's even more of a soft spot. So if if a footballer could be described as as a beautiful woman, that's Miss World right there. Listen, this kid, he's got it all. He's got the world at his feet, literally. You've seen all these little polls coming out about players in terms of their how much they're worth and things like that. Listen, I watch him play, and just his strength is ridiculous. I've not seen one player that he's come up against had him physically. He what he does is it's not spectacular what he does to get away from you, but he just does it with aplomb, and he's quick, he's sharp. And from last season, he's gone up another level again. He's got such a great understanding with Ben White. He works well as well with Odegaard. You see them, those three, and it's a bit, kind of like a shades of Perez, Armoury, and Cole kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously not as great as that, but it's kind of like that kind of scenario where we overload one side where we're really, 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 dangerous. And the goal what he got against Wolves was just like him all over, sharp, bam, just straight to the point. There's nothing fancy about it. It was just quick and effective, and he's been doing that all season. His most productive year, I think, as well. He's got 26 goal contributions in 48 games. Not only is he kind of contribute, but he's the level, touch wood, he doesn't get any crazy injuries, whatever. But at 21, doing what he's doing and making it look easy, he can only get better, and that's frightening. It's and he's our player. That I can't tell you how proud I am of this kid. He's just got such he's such a lucky kid, man. And everyone loves him. You see him when he walks into the England camp, whatever, and how other players greet him. To be so young and to have so much respect from his peers, love him. 10 from me.
No, it's absolutely fine. And Luke is about right. I think it's about 95% of my preview challenges. Everyone has picked Saka, like the opposition fan. So yeah, that's about right. I will go. Moss, I will cover this quickly. I didn't go Saka sometimes, as you need Martinelli to make Bobby happy. No, you need a good squad to make Bobby happy. The challenge will be changing a little bit. It's going to get harder next season, so be prepared, because I have got a new rule that has come in, and it does make it harder. So watch out for that in the previews next season. We're going to move on to Reece Nelson. So Canners,
he gets a 7 from me. obviously Bournemouth is the game, isn't it? Really, that everybody remembers. But there were other moments actually in the season as well, which he done, looked effective, looked sharp. The only thing I've got to say to him really is that two things really. Number one, stay fit, and number two, we spoke about this actually in the back before we come on air. I just think he needs to be that bit more consistent when he starts games. I don't want him, and I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to be typecast as your super sub kind of guy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think he needs to just kind of stamp his authority when he's starting the games. Once he does that and he puts that into place, we'll see a better player from him. But a solid 7 from me. Most of his games were substitute appearances, especially in the league anyway. I don't think, did he start in the league at all?
I think we was calling for him at one stage. I mean, me and Phil Silverfox was really screaming for him to start after that bad run of West Ham and Southampton. But he didn't. I don't remember him starting the game. He did start one and he got injured because he came on. I think when he scored his first double for us, he started the next game and then got injured, and that's when he then was out for a while.
Yes. Or was that Europe? He started after that game. So I remember he scored a double, then he started the next game, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. Yeah, we'll fact check it one day.
Yeah, we'll
sure.
But
who's in the comments? Tony, one of you lot are normally quick.
I just want him to, when he starts games, when he's picked in the first 11, for him to really kind of make his mark in that. That's what he needs.
Yeah. Gumsa, whilst I look up Reece Nelson's what games he's played this season, what's your rating for Nelson?
I'm going to base this strictly on the league. I'm not going to base it on Europe. I think there was a massive drop off when we played our kind of second string, and you saw even when some of our main 11 went into that second string. So I remember there was games where Partey played or Xhaka played, and their levels dropped to like a 6 because of what was around them. And Nelson was, unfortunately, he was in that team a lot. And you saw when you pluck him and Eddie out and put them in the first team, you saw their levels raise up a little bit. But here, get a 7. I think what he did back into the season is earn him a new contract at the club.
Yes.
I speak about it a lot, about players growing into their man body. Some do it earlier than others. So Saka, Rooney, they was able to play men's football at a young age and cope. Reece Nelson, unfortunately, he's taken him a little longer. Willock's another one, and now you're starting to see what these players can do. So you have to give some players some time. I think he's 23 now. Going to be 24 next year. So he's now mature, and you're seeing his performance. He looks sharp. He looks quick. He can hold his own, and he's always had quality as a youngster. So that side of things, it was never a question about his quality. It was more about, can he adapt to men's football, and he's starting to do it. So I'm glad to see him stay in. I'm hoping he actually gets to play more games now, because I do think he deserved to start a few games towards the end of the season. He was coming off the bench and making an impact. City game, he looked like our best player when he came on. In other games as well, he looked most likely person to score or create something. So again, the limited time that he had to get 3 goals and 3 assists is remarkable. And that moment he had, it's just unfortunate that moment won't be remembered as the kind of moment that helped us win the league, because everything, I can remember screaming down my house when he hit that left-footed volley, man. Jesus. It was a great moment, that one. But Reece for me gets a 7, and I'm glad to see him finally start to kind of show the potential. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. He started to show what potential he had. He's starting to come out now. So I think he's due for a good season next year.
Yeah, he started no Premier League games whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Canners, because we need to get... What we'll do, Canners, because you need to go in 10.
Let him run through his, and then I'll follow afterwards.
We'll do that quickly. So Martinelli, Canners.
9.
Trossard.
8.
Eddie.
7.
Jesus.
8.
Arteta.
9.
Okay, so game of your season. What was the game of the season for you?
Game of the season for me, just because I was... there's a... Oh God, I hate you, Bobby.
Cheers, love you too.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I tell you what, the Tottenham one was great. Liverpool was great as well. You know, drama, what have you. I've got to say, United game for me.
I'm taking mine, you dog.
Sorry,
Home or away?
Oh, home, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, I have to make sure because I have to.
Right. No. Although our performance away was brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
United.
your shock of the season.
Shock of the season was. I'm actually going to say that Zinchenko. I didn't think he was that good. I honestly didn't think he was that good because he didn't really play that much for. Well, he did play for Man City, you know, whatever. But you just never really saw him do what he does, and I just think for me, he really, really, really shone. Really, not to say that we're crap or whatever, but what I'm saying is that he really kind of made us play and take us to another level.
Yeah,
and that for me was a bigger shock because I didn't think. I at the start of the season, I was shocked when Tierney wasn't playing.
Yeah. Disappointing player of the season for you?
Vieira.
Okay. I will say Fabio Vieira because I know a lot of people.
Yep, Fabio Vieira.
A lot of people get upset when you just say Vieira. Unsung person of the season. So this can be a coach, manager, whatever you want to do. So it's your choice.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I think he's like the sports psychologist. And you always see him talking to the players, you know, when they're about to come on or when they're going off. But I think he's a sports psychologist. He's kind of youngish looking. I don't know.
I know you mean black hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? When it's you saw him as well on All or Nothing, and you know he was having conversations with certain players and stuff. But the thing is, though, you can see him on the sides and the way he's actually analyzing their performance with the player and going through it, how they're feeling, all that kind of stuff, and you can kind of see that happening. And when you're in the stadium as well, sometimes I watch them, and you can see them talking to the player. You see him talking to the players, you know, the ones who've just come off, and also as well at full time he might go into the pitch, whatever, and he's going around talking to it. It's such a it's an amazing thing to see, and I don't think people, unless you played sports to kind of a high level, how much sports psychology plays a huge part in what these guys, and actually they're kids. These guys are young, and the amount of and the weight of expectation playing in front of 60,000 people week in, week out, it's a huge thing. And to keep them on a level and to keep the performance levels the way that they're doing and what they're doing, it's a big thing. And I just think he's doing an amazing job. The whole backroom staff there is an amazing job. But I just think that guy is such a huge part of Arteta's backroom staff. Big.
Right. So I'm going to put sports psychologist. I'm going to have to.
I think he's the unsung hero. He's kind of like someone who you don't really kind of notice. No one ever notices him. But if you watch him, and he's got so much respect from the players as well, and he's probably about there only a little bit older than them, if that.
Okay, I'll have to double check. We'll make sure I'll get his name right with you. So right, flop signing of the season. I'm going to guess that's Fabio as well.
He gets a double award from me.
Yeah, the signing of the season.
It's got to be Zinchenko.
Okay. Right, the young player of the season. So that he has to be under 21. Oh. So Saka is fine. Saka is fine.
Oh, okay. Because he's 20. We're talking at the start because he's 21 now, isn't he, Saka?
Yeah. So it was the start of August. Start of August last year. So Saka for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Player of the season.
Saka. I've given him a 10 and 9. Yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, that's what we'll do for you. So obviously, because you need to get off, because you need to go and get your wife.
My daughter's just had a trial with Millwall.
Okay.
And so they're on their way back from Rotherhithe, so I'm just going to meet them at the station.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you ever so much, Canners. Where can the people find you very quickly before you go?
You can find me resident at the Armoury TV, hoping, and we will be actually coming back with your Wednesdays, but that will soon be changed to Thursdays simply because during the season, as you know, we're playing Tuesday and Thursday nights. Wednesday nights. But yeah, all I can say is you find me on the Armoury TV, also on Twitter as well, at the handle there at Canners 2204. That's it.
Cheers, mate. I really appreciate it. And obviously we'll speak off
absolutely
off cam anyway. But thank you ever so much for Canners for coming.
No, thank you, Bobby, forever. You know, as I said, it's always great, always a pleasure. Love these shows, and Gumsa, guru Gumsa, man, as it is.
Enough love, my brother.
Yeah. Bless, guys. Thank you
Cheers.
very much.
Take care, mate.
All the people in the chat, absolutely amazing. Thank you. It was brilliant.
Thank you very much, mate. Right. So, Gumsa, it's all down
Hello,
to you
I'm
now,
back.
mate. It's all down to you now, mate.
Let's do it.
Right. So let's go back to Martinelli now, then, for you.
Do you know what? He's in that category with your Odegaards, your Xhakas, where they're pushing a 9. However, I'm going to let him get over the line. I'm going to let him get to the 9. I've held back Odegaard. I've held back Xhaka from the 9. Can't remember who else got an 8 from me, but I think Martinelli's deserving of the 9. This is the kind of first full season he's had where he's had to play a lot of minutes. I don't really recall. He's had games where he frustrates me, but he doesn't have a bad game, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I'm not expecting him to get an assist on every cross or pick out. Do you know what I mean? I'm not expecting that from him, but he's never not in a game, which is the most important thing. I think nothing frustrates me more than when someone's not in a game. I'd rather you be in the game and just be making little, just not producing that final bit of magic. But I could work with that because you're always constantly in the game. What I can't work with sometimes is someone who you never know if you're going to get a 5 or an 8 or a 9. For me, I like the consistent 8s and 9s. So yeah, I'll give Martinelli a 9. I think he's done really well this year. And then again, he's still a young player, isn't he?
Yeah. Right, Trossard.
Started off like a house on fire and it kind of quietened down a bit. I'm looking at him thinking, what is his best position going to be for Arsenal? I don't see him as an out and out left winger. But I'm going to give him a solid 8.
Solid 8, awesome. So I haven't changed it. I'm trying to sort out this sports psychologist with Canners. So I think it's pretty sure it's David Priestley, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm going to Google him. I think I know who he means. So if I see a picture of him,
so what did you give Trossard again? Sorry, I forgot.
8.
An 8, right. Right, I know. I will prepare myself. Eddie.
I'll give him a 7.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give him a 7. When he came in, he done really well for a good few games. We really didn't miss him. Miss Jesus as such. Stand up moment at Man United game where he's popped up with the header. Like, he did do really well, but I feel he just towards the end, and again, I think everyone's gonna look at the Everton game, where we struggled and he gets the blame for all of that again. And this is what I don't like about our fan base. Sometimes it was just blame Eddie. But he then just didn't do enough to dislodge Jesus. And sometimes we just need a few players who are gonna, rather than it be 4 or 5 games, someone's on a bad run, then we switch it. Yeah. We should be switching after 1 or 2 games. And I just don't think he offers that level of challenge to Jesus. So yeah, for that, I'm going to give him a 7. But he done what I expect him to do as well. He didn't shock me when he done what he done because I've always believed there's a player in there. So I don't think I was as shocked as others when he was producing what he produced.
No, that's fine, mate. Right, we'll move on to Jesus.
He'll get an 8 from me. Does he get a 9? This is a hard one. I think he's going to get a 9 from me, actually.
Okay.
He didn't score as much as what we thought he would have scored.
Yeah.
Especially in pre-season, he started to finish, and I'm saying, oh my God, this boy. But as the season started, obviously he hit that little spell where he couldn't score for ages. Then he got injured. but there's no denying his quality. And I think again I think next year I want to see him move around the front three a bit more, so not just play down the middle. Because I think there's games where teams have been able to stifle him. So actually, I would like to give him a bit more freedom, and that we will see the best of him because he can do both sides of the game. He can get in the box and do that bit, but he can also come short, get the ball, and play football. So I don't want to restrict him next year. I want to kind of unleash him, and by unleashing him, you might need to free him up. So let someone else occupy two big centre backs and take the kicks and, do you know what I mean? Win headers. Let someone else do that ugly job and let him play beautiful football that you've seen he can play. So some games it showed me why he played out on the wing for Brazil and for Man City. And actually, I think you might get more from him because there's space and grass for him to kill players. So yeah, I'll get to give him a 9. I feel he's done very well in his first season for us.
No, that's fine, mate. So we're going to go to Arteta.
What did Canners give him?
A 9. But this is your numbers, so
no. I'm just trying to think. I just wanted to see what he gave him. It's almost a 10, man. I think he just got maybe 1 or 2 things wrong, which ended up costing us that Sporting Lisbon game. Which I think if we went through but lost Tomiyasu and Saliba, I wouldn't have minded. But to get knocked out of it and lose big players just hurt me. Premier League, I don't think he'd done much wrong. Maybe stuck with holding a little too long. Maybe could have give Saka a game or 2 off, but on a whole, it's hard because we haven't won anything. So to give him a 10, I've got to give him a 10, man. I can't. I've got to give him a 10, really and honestly.
Okay.
Like he's transformed this club. I know it's the season, but really honestly, he's overachieved massively with the squad he's had. And I think I don't get where some fans are going with the criticism of him. Like, yes, we didn't win the league, but I think people have got short memories and forget where we were and what we were dealing with. He's brought the wage structure down. He's brought, do you know what I mean, character to this team. He's brought fundamentals which we never had, like a culture he's brought to this club. It's crazy. So yeah, people really need to remember where we came from and what he's done. And doing it on not a limited budget, but having to do it in a way where you've seen Chelsea have just gone out and spent 600 million. We haven't been able to do it. He's had to do it in stages. Hold on to players he might not have wanted to keep, but actually I need to keep you for another year because I can't buy another player yet, so you're going to do me for 1 more year. He's had to do it in a way which, do you know what I mean, it's a credit to him to be getting this out of the players he's got at his disposal. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 10.
No, it's fine, mate. Right, let's get into the actual awards now. So the first one is your game of the season.
It was going to be Man United.
Yeah.
And
it
again,
still can be.
Nah, Canners can have that one. I'll go West Ham. Aston Villa.
Okay.
Which was the Nelson one? Was Nelson Aston Villa? Or was that? No, Aston Villa was Jorginho because that was when it hit Emi Martinez's head, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which one was What was Reece Nelson's one?
Give me 2 seconds. I'll bring up.
I've ordered those two. I've ordered those two, which like both of them late winners were just unbelievable.
Just bring up his games. Sorry, it takes a little while for me to get onto the system.
I'm hearing West Ham have got a penalty, by the way.
Cool. So I'm trying to avoid the talk about the football at the moment because I just want to concentrate on this.
Do your thing.
Right. So Nelson.
Bournemouth? Was it Bournemouth?
Oh, with the game changer game. Yeah, that was
the last goal. Yeah.
1 goal, 1 assist. Yeah.
But I think the Bournemouth game, Bournemouth and Villa, they were my two, but I'll go Bournemouth.
Okay, so Bournemouth
absolutely scenes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on a different screen again, so it's
all good. It's all good.
Right, your shock of the season.
The fact we came second, the fact we was top for so long. Just our actual overall performance was a big shock for me. I was not expecting this from the start of the season.
So
the fact we
how
a title.
So that was my answer. Mine was a title challenge. So is that? Do you want to have the same answer as myself? Yeah.
Yes, please. Title challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's absolutely fine. I'll write that down. Right. So the disappointing player of the season for you.
That's a hard one. Fabio Vieira is easy.
Yeah.
In all honesty, disappointing player will have to be Kieran Tierney.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be the biggest disappointment this year.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him. I don't think it's all
Right.
his fault, but
Yeah, it's not.
again,
Yeah.
it's that drop off in level.
Yeah.
We should have been able to put him in left back, maybe move Zinchenko if need be. There's other options. In the end, we was doing all kind of madness, and Partey ended up playing fullback. So yeah, Tierney, unfortunately for you.
100%.
Vieira, you escape at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. Your unsung person of the season, as I've said to Canners, it can be a coach as well. It doesn't have to be a player.
Unsung person of the season. Matt Turner.
Okay.
I'm going to go Matt Turner. When he's played, he's done well. Remember, there's one game in the league. I think Ramsdale was injured. He had to step in. He done really well in that game. Europe, he's done well. And yeah, I think since obviously Emi Martinez and Leno, we had two solid keepers, and obviously we sold Emi, and then do you know what I mean? When we had Runnison and that, it was horrible. So yeah, I think he's done well, and his character seems pretty good. It seems like all the players really like him. And again, he's probably pushing Ramsdale. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what you need is competition, isn't it? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Matt Turner.
Okay, flop signing of the season. I'm going to write it already.
Yeah, Fabio Vieira. Unfortunately, you grabbed that one.
Yeah,
he grabs that.
Okay, your signing of the season.
Oh, Zinchenko.
Okay.
Yeah, Zinny. It was close between Jesus and Zinny, but Zinny just pips it.
No, that's fine. Right, your young player of the season.
21 and under.
Yeah, at the start of August last year. So
yeah, it's hard. It is Saka, but for me, he doesn't play like a young player.
Yeah,
what's Martinelli? Martinelli
21.
older?
No, Martinelli's 21 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it to. I think everyone's gonna give it to Saka, and I think he deserves it. But
yeah,
Martinelli really did step up this year as well. So I'm gonna give that one to Martinelli. I'll let him have that.
Well, it kind of tells me what the next answer is, then, to be honest. Your player of the season.
Feels bad for taking it away from him because he does. How does he not get a trophy from me? But Saliba's in with a shout as well. I'll give Saliba the 10, didn't I?
No. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean your player of the season.
No, it doesn't.
That
is actually very accurate.
This is hard. Yes. This is hard. Again, Saliba for what he done in his position, but Saka's just unreal. This is difficult. I don't think there's a wrong answer, is it? It could go to one of 3 or 4. But my boy, Saliba. Saliba's gonna get it. Saliba's gonna get it. Saka was part of the squad that fell apart. Saliba wasn't. So Saliba, you get it.
Brilliant stuff. Right, that is all of them, mate. Well done. Thank you ever so much for doing it. Canners, thank you ever so much. I know you've had to jump up. Part 4 will be on Monday. Tony's doing it, so let's watch out for the holding rating. And then the full proper results. Obviously, these are all their own personal ratings. I'm not telling that anyone's wrong. There is no right or wrong answer for anybody that's come onto these shows and given their the rating. But on Tuesday, I will be giving out the 50 plus people that are doing this, the average. So this will be 7.33s and all that kind of stuff. So look, on Tuesday, there'll be a very quick show. I will tell you all the ratings for each player from the 50 people that I've asked, and we'll give the answers on Tuesday. It'll be a very quick show. But Gumsa, really appreciate you coming on. You are the review man. I'm the preview man. So we don't normally meet very often.
No, we cross paths.
Where can people find you?
I'm here at the Armoury TV. Obviously, I've been neglecting the channel for a little while. Work's been manic, but yeah, I get on when I can. Oh God, Fiorentina just equalised against West Ham, just in case you lot didn't see. But yeah, I'm here. I'm at the Armoury. Yeah, I'm just loving life, man. So yeah, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be on the show with you, Bobby, as well. And yeah, we just keep riding. I'm looking forward to the transfer window as well. That's always good fun,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes,
I'm
just so
hopefully
everyone's
on.
aware, it doesn't open till Tuesday next week.
No,
Just
no,
so
no.
everyone's fully aware, because everyone
Everyone
seems to
can
be
calm
losing
down.
their mind.
And
Next
that's okay. You can
Tuesday, and
agree
then,
a deal with someone beforehand, but yeah,
yes,
it's not.
yes,
It's not pre-season yet. People relax.
yeah, just relax.
Um,
And next Wednesday, fixtures are released. So
ooh, I look forward
yeah,
to that.
9
Yeah,
a.m.
Wednesday evening I should be on the stream anyway, so I
It's
might.
either, it's
Yeah,
either Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, it's either
excellent.
Wednesday or
I
Thursday.
will be trying to jump on as much as possible, and hopefully I will have some daytimes free. So yeah, you'll see
Yeah,
more of me. But yeah, Bobby, thank you for having
I
me
will
again
be.
today.
No worries, mate. I will be back Friday night to do Arsenal news. Let's see if the bid goes in by the time I do the news show. Hopefully it does, because I will be doing it about 7 o'clock at night. So hopefully it goes in by then. Look, good luck to West Ham tonight. I really do hope you win. Obviously for
Me too.
personal reasons, but it's also English reasons as well. Come on, guys. It's not Tottenham. I don't
Yeah,
think
that's it.
any of us would be cheering on Tottenham if it was Tottenham. But guys, really appreciate it. I will be back, as I said, on Friday. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Bye.